Let me tell you about Tyler. He's 24 years old, grew up in a suburb outside of Indianapolis, Indiana, works a remote customer success job making $54,000 a year, has about $28,000 in student loan debt, no wealthy parents, no inheritance, no trust fund. By every conventional measurement, Tyler is exactly the kind of person that financial pundits and housing experts have spent the last 3 years saying cannot buy a home in this market. Too young, too much debt, too little income, the housing market is too expensive, the interest rates are too high, the down payment is impossible. You've heard it 1,000 times. Tyler heard it too. He ignored it. At 23 years old, Tyler closed on a two-bedroom home in a smaller city outside Indianapolis for $187,000. His monthly mortgage payment, after locking in a rate buy-down deal with a home builder, came out to $1,050 a month, $200 less than the apartment he had been renting. He used an FHA loan with a 3.5% down payment, found a first-time homebuyer grant that covered a chunk of his closing costs, and moved in with his younger brother, who now pays him $600 a month in rent. Tyler is not a financial genius. He didn't have a secret advantage. He just found the actual playbook that nobody talks about because it doesn't fit the neat housing is impossible narrative that gets all the clicks. And he is not alone. Here's what the news isn't screaming loud enough. Gen Z is actually buying homes. According to data from the Intercontinental Exchange's Mortgage Monitor report published in May 2025, Gen Z accounted for roughly 25% of all first-time new mortgages in the first quarter of 2025. A generation that everyone wrote off as permanent renters is quietly showing up at closing tables across America. Now, to be real with you, it's not easy, it's not the majority, and the obstacles are genuinely serious. A 2025 Coldwell Banker survey found that 84% of Gen Zers say they're delaying major life milestones like marriage and even career changes just to try to afford a home. The median age of first-time home buyers hit an all-time record high of 40 last year, meaning even the oldest Gen Zers are still a decade or more behind the typical first-time buyer timeline. But here's the thing, some of them are not waiting. Some of them figured out that the old path to homeownership is gone, and instead of grieving it, they built a new one. And that new path, the creative strategies, the mindset shifts, the financial tools, is exactly what we're breaking down in today's video. Whether you're 22 or 32 and feel locked out of the housing market, I promise you this video has something that is going to change how you think about what's actually possible. Let's get into it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Dollar Neck Finance, the channel where we talk about real money moves, real strategies, and the financial truth that most people are too scared or too lazy to actually research. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we drop content every single week that is genuinely designed to change how you think and act with your money. And if you've been rocking with us, drop a comment below. Do you own a home, or are you still trying to figure out how to get there? Let's go. So before we get into the strategies, let's talk about what's actually driving this. Because the reason Gen Z's approach to home buying looks so different from every generation before them isn't because they're reckless or impatient, it's because they did the math and figured out something important. Renting long-term in most American markets is financially catastrophic. When you rent, your monthly payment builds zero equity. When you own, every mortgage payment is slowly building an asset. And in a market where rents have exploded over the last 4 years, up dramatically in cities across the country, the monthly payment gap between renting and owning has actually narrowed in many smaller markets. Tyler's story is proof of that. He went from paying $1,250 a month in rent to $1,050 a month on a mortgage, and now he owns something. Gen Z looked at that math and said, "Why am I making my landlord rich?" The second driver is the remote work revolution. Unlike any previous generation, a significant slice of Gen Z workers are not location dependent. They can work from anywhere with a Wi-Fi connection, and that changes everything about the home buying equation. Instead of being forced to compete in expensive coastal markets like New York, San Francisco, or Los Angeles, Gen Z is relocating to secondary and tertiary cities, places like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Columbus, Ohio, Greenville, South Carolina, Huntsville, Alabama, where median home prices are still in the $180,000 to $280,000 range, and the cost of living is dramatically lower. According to the National Association of Realtors 2025 report, Gen Z tends to buy older homes in more affordable markets rather than waiting around for the perfect turnkey property in an expensive city. They're willing to buy a home that needs work in a city that needs growth, and they're treating that as a feature, not a compromise. The third driver is pure psychology, and this is the most interesting one. Gen Z watched millennials get burned by waiting. They watched their older brothers, cousins, and friends delay home buying through their late 20s and early 30s, believing rates would come down or prices would fall, and instead, both went up. Gen Z made a different decision. Stop waiting for perfect conditions and start adapting to the conditions that actually exist. That mindset shift alone is separating the ones who are closing deals from the ones who are still scrolling real estate apps hoping the market magically fixes itself.
Okay, this is the part everyone came for. Let's talk about the specific, real strategies that Gen Z buyers are actually using to get into homes right now. Because this isn't theory, this is what's happening at closing tables across the country. Strategy 1 is FHA loans and first-time homebuyer programs, and this is the foundation of most Gen Z purchases. The NAR has confirmed that Gen Z is heavily utilizing FHA loans, which require down payments as low as 3.5% and are more forgiving on credit scores than conventional loans. On top of that, many states and municipalities have first-time homebuyer grant programs that provide free cash, not loans, actual grants for down payments and closing costs. There are also mortgage credit certificates, which are federal tax credits that reduce your income tax bill for the life of the loan, effectively lowering your real monthly cost. For a guy dealing with student loan debt and entering the workforce during high interest rates, these programs can be the difference between renting forever and owning now. And 45% of first-time buyers who shop multiple lenders end up getting a better rate, which can mean thousands of dollars saved over the life of a loan. Strategy 2 is new construction builder incentives, and this one is flying completely under the radar for most buyers. Builders who are sitting on unsold inventory in a slower market are offering deals that are genuinely remarkable right now. Rate buydowns, where the builder pays to lower your mortgage interest rate for the first few years. Discounted closing costs, free upgrades. In some cases, builders are using their preferred lenders to offer rates a full percentage point or more below what you'd get on the open market. Gen Z, as digital native researchers, has been all over this, comparing builder packages the same way they'd compare prices on Amazon. Strategy 3 is the bank of mom and dad and co-buying, and this deserves a real, honest conversation. According to the NAR, more than one-third of Gen Z buyers are receiving a cash gift from family members to help fund their down payment. About 16% are planning to use inheritance money, and a growing number are co-buying with brothers, friends, or other family members, splitting down payments, closing costs, and mortgage payments to increase buying power together. Strategy 4 is house hacking, one of the most powerful and underused wealth strategies available to first-time buyers. Tyler did this without even realizing it had a name. House hacking means buying a property with extra space, a second bedroom, a basement unit, a duplex, and renting that space out to offset your mortgage. When done right, your tenants are essentially paying your housing costs, allowing you to live for free or near free while simultaneously building equity. In high-rent markets, a first-time buyer in a two-bedroom can rent the second room for $700 to $900 a month, which, on a $1,200 mortgage payment, means their actual out-of-pocket housing cost drops to $300 to $500 a month. That's less than most guys spend on a car payment.
Now let's bring it all together with the most important piece, because the strategies are only as powerful as the mindset behind them. And there's one mental shift that separates the Gen Z buyers who are closing deals from the ones who are stuck in analysis paralysis, and I want to make sure you walk away from this video with it. The shift is this: stop optimizing for the perfect situation and start optimizing for the best available situation. The guys who are buying homes right now are not doing it because the market is good. The market is objectively hard. Mortgage rates are still elevated, home prices in most markets are near all-time highs, and inventory is tight. They're doing it anyway because they did the actual math on their specific situation and found that owning still beats renting for them, even in this environment, when they use the right tools. The ones who are still waiting are waiting for a market that financial experts broadly agree is not coming. Rates are unlikely to drop dramatically. Prices in desirable markets are unlikely to fall significantly. Every year you wait is another year your potential down payment gets eaten by rent, money that builds nothing. So here is your concrete action plan starting today. Step 1. Check your state's first-time homebuyer programs right now. Go to the HUD website, find your state's housing finance agency, and see every grant and assistance program you qualify for. Most people have no idea these programs exist. Step 2. Check your credit score and start working on it if it's below 620. An FHA loan needs at least 580, and every point above 620 improves your rate and your options. Step 3. Research 1 or 2 secondary cities in your region where home prices are under $250,000 and remote work-friendly infrastructure exists. Run the actual numbers, mortgage versus current rent, and see what the gap actually is. Most guys are shocked to find it smaller than they assumed. Step 4. Have an honest conversation with family if family assistance is something that could be on the table. More than a third of Gen Z buyers used family gifts for their down payment. There's no shame in that conversation. There is shame in never having it and renting for another decade out of pride. And step 5, if you're open to it, seriously research house hacking in your target market. One rental room can cut your effective housing cost in half and turn your first home into a wealth-building machine from day one. Tyler from Indianapolis figured this out at 23. He's not smarter than you. He just decided to stop waiting and start doing. You don't need to be a financial expert to do what he did. You need a clear goal, a willingness to think differently about what a starter home looks like, and the discipline to actually pull the trigger when the numbers make sense. The market isn't going to get easier while you wait. The question is whether you're going to adapt to it or keep watching from the sidelines. That's a wrap on today's video. If this opened your eyes, hit the like button and share this with a guy in his 20s who thinks buying a home right now is impossible. Send it to him today. It might genuinely change his trajectory. Subscribe to Neck Finance if you haven't already, because we've got more videos coming that are going to challenge how you think about money and building real wealth.